Happy Father's Day, everybody. It's Fitzdog Radio. It's Father's Day when I'm recording this. Beautiful day. What a nice Father's Day I had. It makes me appreciate my family, how much they care about me. I got breakfast in bed. My son cooked me eggs, and my daughter wrote me a beautiful card, and my wife got me a new backpack, a new computer bag, which sounds boring. Not when you have a shitty computer bag and it makes you upset every day. And now I've got little pockets for every little thing. My phone charger, my wires, my pills that I take every day, my extra keys, my glasses, my reading glasses, my spare change, my wallet, my computer, my folder with important papers. It just goes on and on. Chewing gum, floss. How about cold remedies? I got it all. When I go on the road, I'm set. Anyway, we spent a nice day. I went to Penmar with the Irish Mafia was in full force. Fitzsimmons, Fitzgibbons, Fitzgerald, O'Neill. And then two guys from Ireland who I just met recently. Great time. Hung out, watched the U.S. Open all day, ate some good food, and watched Rory McIlroy fucking choke it on 18. Jesus Christ. He missed 2 3-foot putts on the last 3 holes to lose to that. I don't want to badmouth anybody, but this DeChambeau really upsets me. He's a live guy. He's kind of a douchebag. His wife is a gold digger. Again, here am I bad-mouthing him. Meanwhile, Rory had it. A little distracted. He was rumored to, I think he announced he was getting divorced, and then there was rumors that he was having an affair with Amanda Balionis, who's the CBS reporter, the golf reporter, who every guy I know has a crush on this woman. She is got the greatest, most, I don't know about her personality. She seems like the woman you would have been best friends with since 8th grade. She loves sports. She likes to laugh. She's gorgeous. She's full-figured. And they were having an affair, apparently. And now they announced last week that Rory and his wife are getting back together. So maybe he was a little distracted by all of that. Danny McCarthy played well. Little rocky the first day. He was like 5 over. Made the cut. Was 3 under the next day, which was like the best of anybody on day 2. Anyway, he ended up rounding out. He did well. Got no screen time. No TV coverage on Denny. Come on, CBS. Show some fucking love. It's not all about Rory and Bryson. Anyway, happy Father's Day. Tough day. I know if you are a deadbeat dad, a day like this can be really tough on you. My heart goes out to all the fathers that have abandoned their kids because, yeah, it's just, it's got to be the one day that makes you stop and go, I don't know. Or maybe in the end, maybe you woke up on this fine Sunday with a wine glass in your hand and some sweet condo that you paid off years ago because you didn't pay for college. You got a woman half your age getting dressed and awkwardly asking, are you going to call? Are you going to call me? And someone's honking out front because you and your buddies all have season tickets to the Dodgers. Would you trade that off for a card, for a nicely written card from a kid and some eggs in bed? Would you? In the end, which is a better life? I don't know. What does the word fulfilling even mean? I'm fulfilled. I have a wonderful family. But UMMMHHH. There are other versions of life that could be lived. This is one. This is the one that America says you should live, and I certainly have chosen that, and I enjoy the shit out of it. But anyway, Father's Day always makes me think about And I talked about this briefly on Sunday Papers, but my friend Kevin Lynch lost his dad right around Father's Day. And I wrote my dad this heartfelt letter saying, Dad, God forbid anything should ever happen. I want you to know how much I love you. I was crying, writing this letter to my dad, telling him how deeply I loved him. And I did love my dad. My dad was a complicated guy. He was a very angry, very depressed alcoholic with a lot of childhood trauma that he never dealt with. And so he passed on a lot of bad stuff, but he also passed on some of what I consider to be my greatest gifts, my sense of humor, I think my loyalty to friends, my commitment to family, which he always had. But anyway, so long story short, I read him this letter. He never says anything to me about it. I come home, like, I figure my phone will ring. It never mentions it once. I'm just like, all right, well, I guess he just couldn't handle the intimacy, you know? So anyway, then he dies the week before Father's Day when I'm 25, maybe I'm 25. And so we're clearing out his desk after he died, and right on top was that letter that I had written to him. And I think about that letter every time my kids write me a card. I have a fucking giant Staples container in the back, a big plastic container with every card my kids have ever written me. I save them all. Even if it's just like a quick I love you, I save it. Means everything to me. And it gets me through some bad times. I've been depressed lately. Oh, God. Ugh. Yuck. Gross. Sitting for a couple days go by and you go, what did you do? You know, maybe I drag myself to the gym. I'm trying to meditate, trying to fight it. You know what helps? Just reading a book or The New Yorker. I just sit down and read. And sometimes if everybody will leave me the fuck alone for an hour, reading is like a therapy for me. Good book. What's the title? Rob Doyle is a good young Irish novelist whose book is called, I'll think of it. I'll say it on the next show. I just finished it. It's great. Anyway, in stand-up comedy, pulls me out. I only had a couple spots this week. It was a slow week because I was on the road for half of the week, and then I kind of flaked and didn't show up to one of my shows, which never happens, but I did. That pulls me out all the time. And you know what else pulls me out? When you guys give me a nice rating on YouTube, comments on YouTube, nice ratings on, do you listen on Apple Podcasts? Comment, stars, it all helps. Spread the love. You can always write me at Greg Fitz Show. Where is that? That's Twitter. Greg Fitzsimmons on Instagram. And then fitzdog@gmail.com for letters, for your notes. I also always get, by the way, next couple weeks we got Harlan Williams and Dave Keckner coming up. So we got a nice month. I get email sent to you guys with Overheards. This is a segment that's been going on for 14 years on the show. Got some good ones this past week. This is from Jim O in Venice Beach. Guy and Ralph's on speakerphone, which, first of all, who goes on speakerphone in a supermarket? I don't trust the people I'm friends with to not say fucked up shit in a supermarket that could get me and them canceled. So I keep the earbuds in. Anyway, so the guy says, or he hears, so you got a Jeep? Woman on the phone, yeah, I've been walking for years. That's a Jeep for you. Cute idea. Barbie had one. G.I. Joe had one. The Jeep, it's all American. You know what else it is? The lowest rated car. I looked up the 10 lowest rated cars, the least reliable cars, according to Consumer Reports. It's like they're all American. It's so embarrassing. Chrysler, Rivian, Jeep, GMC, Lincoln, Ford, And I know Chevy's not they're a cunt hair away from the bottom 10. I guarantee it. Volkswagen, believe it or not, is also in there. I always had Volkswagens, and I had good luck with them. Maybe they've gone downhill. Mercedes is very low. I have a Toyota. We have 3 cars. I have a Toyota Prius. I've got a Subaru Outback, and I've got a Toyota Highlander. And the Toyotas never give me a problem. They just run. They don't ask questions. They don't complain. They just start up and they get me where I'm going. Do they look good? No. Do they look bad? No. It's just fucking transportation, baby. I don't need to impress anybody when I pull up to the Comedy Store. You want to be impressed? Come into the OR and watch me do a 15-minute set. That's where I impress. I don't need to impress you with a fucking sports car in the parking lot. I'm going to impress you with my retirement, okay? You want to see what trips I take my family on? That's where my money goes. Who am I yelling at? Jesus. Sounds like somebody wants a Mustang. Thinking about the Mustang. And then this is from Rob Ryder. I was in a thrift shop in Tahoe City. That, sir, sounds like the beginning of a good alt country song. 2 local types talking about the JFK assassination. And one says something, then this. True. But everyone has their own nug of knowledge. Everyone has their own nug of the knowledge. Yeah, it's true. When will we see the files? When will they release? I know they did some redacted limited release of the, was it the Warren report about the JFK assassination? There's still a lot of that CIA shit we don't know about. And Trump was asked point blank this week if he would release the JFK files. He said, absolutely. And they said, well, what about Nixon's files? He said, absolutely. And they said, what about Epstein? He goes, absolutely. Now, you know what? You know what? I think some people might get hurt by that. Yeah, I think no. So you wouldn't release the Epstein? No, I don't think I would release the... Oh, really? Interesting. I don't think Clinton would release them. I don't think Biden had any. I don't think he took any plane trips. Who knows? By the way, that was a deep fake on Biden walking aimlessly away from some people the other day. Anyway, there's going to be a lot of deep fakes of Trump and Biden over the next 5 months. It's so easy to manipulate video and put it out. People are going to be believing all kinds of crazy shit. They're going to believe these guys are old. Then Lars Eric Pearson said, at a Wawa in Chesapeake, Virginia, cashier asked the dude if he wanted to round up his purchase for St. Jude's. This fucker said, let him die. Screw him. Whew. Man, let him die. Sounds to me like maybe somebody got turned away from the St. Jude's free clinic when he was a child. Did the guy have a goiter on his neck? Was he missing an ear? I think they accept everyone. I've done a lot of benefits for St. Jude's over the years. It's St. Jude. They accept everybody. Even if you're rich, they take you in for free. It's unbelievable. Maybe they're too generous. Yeah, fuck these kids. Jeff JK. This is from nearly a year ago. All right, well, thanks for the expediency of writing in. Just after the OceanGate submersible implosion, I was sitting at the train station in Hudson, New York, and an older black gentleman is discussing it with a friend of his on his cell phone. He pauses before saying loudly, quote, "Man, white people need to leave the damn Titanic alone." I put the tie into the Titanic. Yeah, it's true. It's a death trap. And I was thinking about how annoying those people in that submarine, the OceanGate submarine, when it went down and they were trapped for hours, maybe 12, with limited air, and they're all yapping it up. And you know how annoying they were because they're a bunch of rich white people, entitled. They're all asking for who's in charge? Who's in charge here? I paid $100,000. I demand somebody. Then you got black. If black people were in there, they'd just be like, "Yep, mm-hmm. This is the shit that happens to us. Yep." I don't know. Then we got... All right, that's it. We'll read some more next week. I want to get to the interview with my dear friend Andy Richter, who I've known. I first met him through Matt Malloy many years ago, and then I used to go on the Conan O'Brien show pretty regularly and do stand-up comedy, and I got to know him a little bit there. He came on he's been on the show many times, and matter of fact, I think for the first time he ever talked about his father being gay, it was on my podcast. We used to hang out at his house with his kids. He's done it all. He had this great TV show called Andy Richter Controls the Universe that I think should have been on for a long time, and it was not. The Madagascar movies. He was in Malcolm in the Middle, Arrested Development. How about him in Elf? He was amazing in Elf. Dr. Dolittle, Madagascar, all the Madagascars. What else did he do? Scary Movie, Pootie Tang, Talladega Nights, Ballad of Rick and Bobby, Blades of Glory, Semi-Pro, which I watched with my son the other night. Not the best movie. Anyway, you know him. You love him. Here's a really great talk and a great hang with my friend, Andy Richter. Congratulations, you're newly remarried.
I am.
I hate to say remarried. That sort of takes the
well, I mean, but it's just the
pedal
truth.
Off the
yeah.
rose.
I mean, because like I'll say, like I just got remarried, and it can sound like to the same person, but then I guess usually
should you have to say
being married is a state? Yeah, I think so.
Should you have to say remarried if it's 3 times?
Yeah, remarried. I don't know. I mean, I didn't plan on, ever getting divorced, and then life happened, and so yeah, I don't know. I mean.
You guys got to the finish line with the kids before you got divorced, though, right? Were they basically at?
They were.
18
Yeah,
they were.
They were 14 and 19.
Okay, yeah, our
when
kids,
I moved out.
Yeah, our kids are about the same age. Your son is 23.
23, and my daughter's 18.
Yeah, my daughter's 20. Yeah, they're the same ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I married a single mom, so now I got a 4-year-old too.
Nice.
I adopted my stepdaughter.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That brings
I got
life
a little
into
one.
the house, huh?
It sure does. And
yeah.
It's so funny because people, they either go like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you go back into that? Or they act like I'm some kind of big hero.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I just love kids. I don't think there's anything more important than raising kids.
Yeah.
And I like doing it, and I love her, and I love her mother, so what the fuck am I going to do? I mean, there's that. It's not like I was like, you know what? I'm going to save this woman. I'm going to,
right.
But what people but people do act like, oh, wow, aren't you something? And I kind of feel like, yeah, but this child is providing me with another 16 or 17 years of not having to make any decisions.
Yes.
Like I don't have to decide what I'm going to do with myself
right.
or my life for like another 16 years.
Yeah, because
I'm just going to be taking care of her, and like I wake up on Saturday. What am I going to do today? Well,
you're going to get on the floor.
We're going to go to ice skating, and then we're going to go to, we're going to get something to, So I mean, taking care of kids is a wonderful, like, absolving of self-directedness. Which
you're also very childlike, so I could see it sort of tapping into your It's creative. Having
Yeah.
a little kid. You come from improv. A 4-year-old is doing an improv from the
Yes.
time they get up to. It's okay. Oh, it's a piece of paper. Oh, it's a plane.
Yeah.
Oh, look, this is there. And
Her
you
thing
go
is
with
like,
it.
no, you go around the corner and I'll walk by and you'll say, "What are you doing here?" And then I'll say, "I'm the sheriff," and then you have to do that 12 times.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And if I improvise, I get scolded. No, like that's not your line.
And he's
But
like,
yeah.
"Do you know why we have this house?
Yeah.
Because I improvise."
No, and I mean, you're right. It is silly. It's like you do get to be silly.
Yeah.
All the time and
Mm-hmm.
do silly voices and just be silly and
Yeah.
and it's that, and it does. When you're keeping in contact with a very young person and entertaining a very young person and doing very young person things, I'm not doing old man shit. I'm
Right.
doing little kid shit. So
Yeah.
it does keep you young.
It keeps you young. I think one of it can be an upside. I don't know how you feel about it, but the parents of your child's friends can be a discovery. It can be a great or it can be, especially when you're in show business, they will ask you the same 12 questions.
Yeah.
And
that's
tough.
It's all part of it,
Yeah.
And my daughter goes to a very truly a very nice school. My older kids went to the same school in the Valley, and there was some gross LA bullshit involved there. But you find that it's like anywhere. It's like a job.
Yeah.
You go into a workplace, you're new there, you make friends, and then there's other people like, oh boy, don't get in the elevator with that fucking bore,
Right.
So it's just, you pick and choose. And like I say, the school that my daughter goes to is very nice and very it's about as not LA as you can get.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's in
Isn't it funny?
Pasadena,
We're all in LA, and all we want are things that are not LA.
Well,
When you're in New York,
I mean,
when you're in New York, you want the
it's
most New York things you can
It's
get
a
to.
showbiz LA. though.
Yeah.
There's a totally separate LA
Right,
that's
right.
like the people that live here who are, roofers and dentists,
Yep.
who who don't live, frankly, on the West Side,
Yeah.
or Hollywood,
I
or
live on the
or a
West
little
Side.
bit on the Valley, Yeah,
Yeah.
but look at you.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Hollywood.
It's more like I missed Hollywood.
Are you finding getting to the age you're at now, like you feel like? I was talking to David Cross about this.
I'm in a attic in a neighborhood I can't even name in Hollywood, talking to a guy who's
Beverlywood, I
not
think.
even on a show right now.
Yeah. No, I just feel like I was talking to David Cross, and he's here taping his podcasts for Netflix as a joke, and he just was like, I didn't get invited to any of the big, because it's a big comedy festival. And I was like, did you get invited to Ted Sarandos' house? Because I heard on Stern they were talking about there was a party at Ted's house.
There was.
And he's like, no. And I feel the same way. I feel like, no.
Yeah.
Like a couple of years ago, I was looking through photos to find I was looking yesterday to find a photo of I have a photo of my mother, supposedly, because yesterday was Mother's Day. My mother on the couch, pregnant with me, and next to her is a cup of black coffee and a pack of cigarettes and a full ashtray. And so I was looking for that picture, and as I was going through, I saw a couple of, maybe 3 years ago, I did a Super Bowl commercial for avocados.
Of course, I remember that.
Yeah, avocados from Mexico. And I flew to Mexico City and shot this whole thing. And I just was like, oh, there's no fucking way I would be doing a I don't know what happened in the last 3 years, but that was, that was a lovely thing that happened in my past.
You're right.
And that isn't to say that I won't, it won't happen again, but it's such a weird, quiet time.
No,
for
it's a quiet
show
time
business.
for us. Yeah. It's not just, look, being a straight white man of an older age, and you can play gay. You have that going for you.
Okay.
But me,
I can also play Asian.
Gaijin? Can you play Gaijin?
Sure, why not? Why get a twofer going?
But I think it's also the show business right now. We had the pandemic followed by the Writers Guild strike, and now we've got this. It's not going to happen, but there is the looming threat of
another strike.
Yahtzee, who is the below the line people, the cameras and the makeup people and all that. So Hollywood is taking that as an opportunity to go like, hey, we're losing money. We're just going to kick back, cancel everybody's deals, buy nothing, and let people watch The Office reruns because that's where we're making all our money anyway. So things are at a standstill. I know cameramen that are selling their houses and leaving town because because between these 3 events they just can't do it anymore.
No, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
My chiropractor is his entire business is crew people. And he just said, they're all like people who never stopped working are like doing nothing. You know? So it's just, it's an ebb and a flow, and but it's also a lot of it. The thing is, they pour all this money into stuff, and podcasting is the same thing. They pour into money. They give different people $20 million. And then after they're, after the parties are thrown and, a quarter passes, they're like, how do we get that money back out? And the answer is, you don't.
No.
You just gave people $20 million. And now you have to lay off, you have to lay off 300 people. While the people that got $20 million, they're doing fine.
They got that cash. They cashed it. Yeah, and it's funny because I was one of the first podcasters, and you were one of my early guests. I've been doing this for 14 years, and never part of a company. Like I think Conan's producing yours, right? So you got a small little company. It's it's organic. It's
well, but not anymore. He sold to Sirius XM.
Oh, he did.
He did. Yeah. So my last contract was like Conan and Jeff have very little.
So you got a check up front for yours.
Yeah. That was always my deal. I made a deal.
Bitch.
I made a deal with the family business.
Yeah.
And I was paid for podcasting a nice amount of money.
Yeah.
Can't live on it,
right.
But it's like, it's a couple of payments to different utilities,
Right.
But it was, and I always knew that it was, I'm not going to say overpaid just because I'm always worth more than I'm paid.
Yes.
That's just a rule. But I knew I was making a nice living. Yeah. And then when Sirius XM came into the picture, they were like, in fact, one of the things I'm here to talk about is I'm going to be doing a call-in radio show on Sirius XM, which I'm doing in addition to the other show, just like, because they're like, you know what? We'll renegotiate the contract, but you got to do something else too, which I was like, ugh. And then they said call-in radio show. I was like, okay. That's great. Like falling off a log,
That's great.
So I just, I'm recording my third one on Thursday.
What's the name of this new one?
Andy Richter Call-In Show. The Andy Richter Call-In Show.
And they probably had development executives and marketing people come up with that, didn't they?
No. But I said, they were like, what are we going to call it? I said, just call it the Andy Richter Call-In Show. Yeah. And I've learned, like Andy Richter controls the universe. That was my idea. Yeah. Because they said you have to have your name in the title, which I did not want because it just seemed like a lot of exposure. Yeah. Which I don't think exposure is a good thing.
No, when something fails, you want to be able to, like Bugs Bunny, jump out of the plane right before it hits the ground.
So they wanted my name in it, but I wanted it to be something so grandiose, like Everybody Loves Raymond. Yeah. Like I was just like, it can't be something that'll make me feel embarrassed the rest of my life.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
So it had to be something grandiose, and because the show had a changing narrative, and had lots of fantasy kind of things. Yeah. I just said, Andy Richter controls the universe, because no one can think that's serious. But it's a terrible title because nobody gets it right. Yeah. Andy Richter rules the world. Yeah. Andy Richter, controls things. Yeah. It's just that nobody gets it right. But like Andy Richter Call-In Show, like, what am I going to call it? Like Dialing In with Andy, I just was like,
Butt Dial.
Yeah, the Andy Richter Call-In Show. And even in conversations, people were like, okay, we can talk that over too if that's going to be. And I'm like, all right, you can talk it over all you want, but who gives a shit? First of all, it's a call-in show with me, and then and there was kind of some. And I understand there's people whose jobs are to, put on a lot of different shows, and they're like, so what's the theme of this? And I'm like, shooting the breeze for an hour?
Right.
Taking calls,
Yeah.
I mean, and there is a topic every time, like we've done. For the first one, the theme was, which I did with Andy Daly. I have a guest, and we talk a little at the top, and then we sort of answer him. And the first one was, have you ever, for the question to pose to the callers, have you ever set out on something that seemed really like it was really going to be great, and then it failed miserably? Which I wanted as my opening gambit. I wanted that to be the theme. Then the second one was bad parenting. Like, let's talk. It's tales of bad parenting. They're either done to you or you did yourself or that you witnessed. And the next one is dating disasters. Yeah. So it's just like I said, I just want topics that people can call in with anecdotes. And then do you
put it out on your social media ahead of time?
Yeah.
Give out the number and people call in.
And then people call, or we call people back. Which is the way most of those kind of shows, like if you ever listen to like NPR kind of game talk shows, people send in a message, and then because they're all taped,
right,
and there is talk about doing it live, like occasionally doing it live, which I would love to do.
That's amazing.
I would love to. Also, because if I committed to doing it live, I would instantly get an acting job out of town for 3 months. I just know. It's like
where you
washing
should do
your car and then having it rain.
Remember when you were nice enough to come in and do my childish podcast with Allison Rose in that little room at the Comedy Store? Is perfect. It's very intimate.
That would be nice.
Get 100 people in there.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of comedy. I'm so much more used to improv spaces.
Right.
And like now just getting used to Largo, because we did the end of the Conan show at Largo.
Oh, right, right.
Flanagan's Mark Flanagan's. Yeah. He's a good friend of mine, and we get together for coffee and gossip probably once or twice a month. And which he's just the best. Yeah. The best gossip in town.
The best gossip. Because he's committed to it.
And he also gossips in a way that you never, because like when you're with someone who talks shit about people, the natural inclination is to go, well, wait, when they go away and talk to somebody else, are they talking shit about me?
It's true.
But when you have the ability of having complete trust, and I truly do trust him that he wouldn't talk shit about me. I could see him.
I'm going to call Flanagan right now and bring you up, and I'm going to see what he says.
No, but he's just such a prince. He's just such the best person.
He is, and something about the Irish accent makes the...
Yeah. He's from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, he's from Belfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got like this... I don't know, there's something about the Irish gossiping. It really does feel like you're having tea with them.
Let's see if he picks up.
He doesn't generally pick up my calls.
He's a busy man.
Well, I don't know if he thinks I'm looking for a stage time or something.
Oh.
And I've sort of fallen out of the Largo sphere.
The Largo loop, yeah.
But we do play golf. And it's funny, we'll play golf, and then he'll go, hey, we got to get you back on the show soon. And I'll be like, Mark, just stop. You don't have to say that. Just say good round.
Yeah.
Or, as my friend Jackie Flynn says, you didn't play well when the best thing they say at the end is, good hustle.
Mr. Flanagan?
Hello? Hey, Flanny, it's Greg Fitzsimmons. I'm here with Andy Richter. We were just talking about you, and we're going to say hello. Call me back if you get a chance. All right. Maybe this is your home phone. All right. God bless. I was trying to do like your call-in shit.
Yeah. No. And he would,
And you do it
he
solo?
He wouldn't talk shit about me, though.
I will say.
No, the call-in show I will do with a guest. I'm trying to arrange it with a guest every time.
Great.
Because then it's something to promote, and then once it's up and running, it can be part, because you know how it's like you're part of the promotions machine.
Yes.
Like you get people on your show who wouldn't do your show unless they had something to plug.
Right.
So you get people, most of the time it's going to be just people to shoot the breeze with.
But it also helps getting people to listen. Like I find with my podcast, I can track the numbers.
Yeah.
I get Andy Richter on, I get a nice little spike.
Oh,
People,
good.
Yeah, people like to listen to you.
That's nice.
And then I get on, let's say, Karen Kilgariff. Huge spike.
Oh, right, because
Oh
of
my God.
because of the murder.
The murder show.
That's the murder.
It's so huge.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Why are we obsessed with murder? I mean, and I am. I can't get enough of these true crime series.
Yeah.
Is it that we secretly have an animal instinct to want to kill and we repress it? Maybe even to the point where we don't even realize we want to until we see these shows.
I would tend. I mean, it's different for different people. I mean, it depends on how hard you are while you're listening or watching. And I know your daughter's here, but it's time she learned that men are gross.
I think she figured that out.
Yeah,
already.
she probably has. But no, I would think it's more like a thing of like we're all afraid of dying. So it's the reason we watch horror movies.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like it's like vaccination against fear.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
it's just
Cathartic.
a little taste of it that we know is kind of in a safe realm or a safe dosage.
Yeah.
And then it just makes us feel a little bit of power over it. But it is like I don't know, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like, sex and violence. Like they're always going to be popular.
Yep.
They're always going to be popular just because of the kind of monkey that we are,
Yeah, it's also about the machinations of the crimes. Like some of these people are brilliant.
Yes. Some of them are stupid as hell, and that's fun too.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was one I just saw about this woman who became a guy's stalker.
Yeah.
Did you see that one? And she basically...
Oh, is that the little reindeer thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
I heard that's good though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
But she stalks this guy to the point where she disappears. She goes off the grid, moves out of her place, and is stalking him from afar.
Wow.
Like in his emails, talking to him at work and saying, "Oh, I like your red shirt today and that pencil in your hand." And he's going like, "What the fuck?" Like,
wow.
Terrorizes his friends and all from and the FBI is looking for her and they can't find her. He moves 3 states over a day late. I mean, he did everything to erase himself.
Right.
Next day she was there. So it goes on and on until you realize they looked at her apartment. She hadn't packed anything important. And they started to realize she's fucking dead. There's somebody else that's stalking him. And it's the old girlfriend. Yeah. It was crazy.
That's the kind of thing where like if you presented that, it's like it's too convoluted.
Yeah, right.
It's it has to happen in real life.
But it's fun.
But ultimately, all of that is very flattering to the guy.
Yes.
It
is. To have 2 women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, and then seemingly from the grave? And it's like, no, it's just the old one. Well, still, geez.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. What is it about me, girls? That is insane.
Yeah.
And where was the dead one? Did the old girlfriend murder the dead one?
Yeah, she murdered her, and she was in plain. She had kids. She was a mom of 2 kids, and that's the other thing. I can't. There's days where I don't get a shower in. I haven't shaved in 4 days.
Yep.
I can't fill my car with gas on a regular basis. I still almost run out.
Yeah.
And this woman's got kids she's raising, a job,
stalking.
and somehow finds the time to do high-level stalking. That's impressive.
Yeah. Again, flattering.
Yes.
That is to be flattered by or to be stalked by such a multitasker.
Yes, she's given up sleep for you.
Yeah.
But
where was this at? Because my
Midwest.
wife would love to see. No, I mean like.
Oh,
what was the venue?
I'll find out and I'll text it to you.
Yeah. Let me know.
Well, now that I've kind of done a spoiler on anybody. That's
I'll show. I won't tell my wife the spoiler part.
Yeah,
but no. Yeah, we watched some true crime stuff, and I used to be super into it, but I found that having kids it soured me on it.
I could see that.
There was not enough ironic detachment, because like you do, I don't know, you just are like it tethers you to the earth more, you know, and then I can like, cause when it's just me it's who cares? But it's
Yeah.
like, oh, my kids. Like when I hear about murder and I think, oh, me getting murdered, I'm like, But, my kids getting murdered, I'm like, oh, that would suck.
Yeah, I have a joke about that, about how if I got murdered, exactly, like, I did it, what do I have to prove?
That's my thing always, and I'm for being healthy, losing weight, exercise, all these different things that you're supposed to do. And my answer is, oh, I get more of this? Fuck you. I got plenty of this. And I get it tacked on the end when I can't do anything? Wow. Because when I think about all the old people I knew, they are fucking living it up.
Yeah, right.
Sitting in a barca lounge or bitching.
I know.
I get more of that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I get to expand the time where they're telling me I have to lose weight in order to have more of this.
Right.
When I want to eat.
Yeah.
So many things you have to not do.
Right. And that's where I guess probably the end of my concern for my children is, because then it'd be like, well, no, don't you want to be around for your kids? And I guess I'm like, well, yeah, I guess it'd be nice, but
so,
they'll be fine.
They got a life insurance policy.
Yeah.
They'll
Look,
actually upgrade.
I mean, come on, I've laid some pretty good groundwork with those kids. You should be all right. Once my bloated corpse turns up.
This will give them character. One of them will be a novelist. The other one will be a documentary filmmaker.
And they won't have to work for me like your poor daughter does.
That's right. I know. Yeah. She's really looking at this as like a jump-off point. She's not. Once she learns the skills, she's out of here.
I would hope so. I would. Yeah. As soon as you can. Bye, Dad.
Yeah. Thanks for the entree.
Yeah. No, doing being on a talk show forever and just doing,
How many years?
I did it 7 at the beginning and so 18 altogether.
Oh my
But he was on for more than.
You missed 5
Well,
or 6
he was there.
years.
No, he was on for like almost 30 years. But he was on for like 10 or 12 without me. But I would see, and I've seen it, different things like old established actors, like I think it was Mickey Rooney, and Mickey Rooney had a son, a grown adult son, whose job was to take care of Mickey Rooney.
Yeah.
And travel with Mickey Rooney and basically be Mickey Rooney's assistant.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
No.
Yeah.
That I like the idea of like I would like if that was what my kids were aiming for, I'd do like an old movie where you're trying to get a dog to leave, that you love, like get out of here, I'd throw sticks at my kids just to get them to walk away rather than be my assistant.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
I want an assistant. I like my kids. I want them hanging out as opposed to what? Some Filipino woman who's taking my watch?
What? Wow. That was out of left field. Oh, you're going to be in so much trouble.
On
The
opposite, my mom doesn't want to be in a position where we're taking care of her. She's like, if it gets to that point, take me out of my misery. And
All
I mean, to the point where she's like, if she got COVID,
Right.
she'd want to be put down. She's ready.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there like a smothering pillow behind glass that you can break and
It just says, shh.
No, I agree. I love having my kids around, but just
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them, because like my son's 23 and he moved in with me and my wife and our daughter, and he's living with us now, and I love it. It's great. Yeah.
I love it, except he gets, like last night we had dinner and he got bitchy with everybody. Because he just traveled for 6 months in Central America, and he was living the life. Him and his buddy staying in youth hostels that were like $8 a night, climbing volcanoes, partying till 5 a.m. No responsibilities. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
And then he comes home, and all of a sudden, it's like his bedroom is next to ours, and he's getting a little cranky, and he's lashing out at people, and it's like, you might need to move on at this point.
Yeah.
You need your own place. You need to be with your friends.
Yeah.
And what's he at? William, is that your son?
William, yeah.
And what's he
Will.
up to?
He actually just graduated.
Did you go to school in New York?
He started in New York, but he finished at USC.
Oh, okay.
He in fact, Friday was commencement. They had commencement, and they didn't have the big commencement, but they had each school had their own commencement.
Oh, they canceled it because of the protests.
Yeah. And
right.
so, and it was like 3-block line to get through the security check.
Yeah.
And then it was the art school, and it was in the basement of like a basement ballroom.
Uh-huh.
But as you walk around, as you walk out, and there's only certain entry and exit points around campus, you're just hearing and seeing all these different colleges having their commencements. But he just graduated, and he's delivering Uber Eats.
Film studies?
No, he was art. He was just art. He got a BA
really?
in arts. He didn't get a BFA. He did a lot of studio art, but he didn't want to just do studio art because he wanted to. He has a lot. It just gives him more of an ability to get jobs. Because if you come out with a BFA, it just means you painted or you sculpted.
Right.
And also that wasn't the college experience that he wanted. He's a very talented artist, but we'd go to when he was a senior in high school. We went and toured colleges, and they would say things like, "Well, if you get into studio art, be ready to just be in the studio all the time."
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Well, no,
Right.
yeah."
Well, art is so broad, and now with the internet, it's an exciting time to be an artist because with AI, you can explore. You can really be at the forefront of, because right now, they say that whatever jobs your kids are in college for are not going to exist in 15 years.
Yeah.
And the jobs that do exist, we can't even conceptualize what those are.
Right.
If you're an artist, you're the one that's actually thinking about and creating what the new realities are.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, and design aesthetics, there's always,
Right.
everything's going to need a package. Every movie's going to need a advertising campaign.
Yep.
Every restaurant's going to need an interior.
Yeah,
right. There's all different kinds of ways that, he can do different stuff.
How much of what he does is digital?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. His own work, he mostly paints.
Okay.
He paints like paint.
Right.
But he knows how to do all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he likes doing that stuff, but he's mainly a painter. But I think he had a lot of, we gave him a lot of sort of extracurricular art education, which meant a lot of being taught by a lot of artists.
Yeah.
Even from like the age of 12 on, taking different
right.
classes. And I think he just noticed that the art, and not that he's needs to drive a Lamborghini, but he just saw the struggles of these artists that taught him. And he's like, I don't know if I really, it's like, it's kind of the way that I feel about a creative life. It's like, I like doing stuff, but I don't want to starve,
Well, it's a tougher world.
I don't want to just be like, I have to paint. Like, I don't feel like,
right.
I don't feel like I have to do comedy. I have to get out this story.
Yeah.
And there's times when I wish I did.
Yeah, right.
Although a lot of the people that I know that are like, I got to get this out, they're kind of miserable.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why you were so successful for so long on Conan. In many realms, obviously you've done tons of movies, but the fact that you are a team player, you're a great hang, is something
Thank you.
And when somebody is, I have to have my voice out, you can't play with a lot of people.
Right.
You kind of have to just be doing your own thing.
Right.
So, but it's also a hard world to be a starving artist. And when we were young, I know you came up through the Chicago scene, right?
Yeah.
And then I came up through New York, and my rent was $600.
Yeah.
And I could get a sandwich for $4 at the
Chicago
deli.
was cheap.
But now rents in most cities are $2,000 a month.
$1,500 that'd be super cheap. I think.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, when you're making $500 a week driving Uber, well, there's your entire salary going to rent.
Yeah.
So you have to live at home, and it's, I think, a little more constricting to live at home and be an artist.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Not feel like the freedom that you kind of need to create.
Yeah.
So, but then you have cities like, I was just in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
It's funny you say Tulsa because I have often heard, because when you say do something creative but go away from like the major sort of cultural headquarters, Tulsa's one of the first ones that anybody ever talks about. Like there's apparently a very thriving
it's the new
music
Austin.
and art scene there.
Now is the time to go. Real estate is cheap. I just went there we went because we wanted to see Springsteen, and tickets in LA were like $700. And my friend goes, I just looked on an app. You can get tickets for $24 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We can get an Airbnb for about $200 for 6 of us.
Right, right.
And the Bob Dylan Museum is there.
Oh, wow.
And so is the Woody Guthrie Museum. So
Why is
we
the
were
Bob
like,
Dylan Museum in Tulsa?
because of Woody Guthrie. He's from Tulsa. And Bob
okay.
Dylan always said, if you make a museum of mine, I want it attached to Woody Guthrie's.
Oh, okay.
So we flew out, about 8 of us flew out, and the city was popping. They've got this river that they just built all these parks along, and you can get a city bike on any corner, and they've got gastro pubs and art galleries and music venues. It's like, it's kind of cool, and it's got that Western feel that I think people like. That's like about Austin.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of a
It is moving
Americana.
to an island, though. I mean, and my my son's gay, so I don't know. Because he has mentioned things like that. He's like, get out of, he mentioned a couple of years ago, get out of college, get a job, like a studio job or something, just kind of, just some kind, because there's art jobs out there that aren't particularly satisfying.
Yeah.
But they have dental and health care. And
right.
he said maybe get one of those, save up some money, and then move to one of those little cities where you can do art and live cheaply.
Right.
But it is a problem, it is like you are moving to an island.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it's like, it's the same, living in Austin is great and stuff, but if you want your kids to go to public school, they got to learn Bible shit in their, in their
it may
textbooks.
be a bubble, but that bubble doesn't go very far.
Yeah. I always, like I said once, that like being in Austin is sitting next to a fun gay cousin at a Romney wedding. Like it may seem like fun, but like it is not a complete picture.
Wait till you go to the
of
buffet
the entire
line.
room.
Yeah. Right. No, that's true. But I don't know. There's also an argument that you are going to go there, and by virtue of being a person that people admire and become friends with, that you're going to change that mentality
That's
a little
true
bit.
if you have a pioneer spirit. Yeah. We'll see in November.
Right.
I think that'll be a big decision decision maker.
I know.
Because
Jesus. So here's some other things I want to talk to. Oh, we got to play some golf soon. By the way,
Definitely,
we haven't played in a long time.
I haven't played.
I know it's tough with a little kid.
Yeah, it's tough with the little kid, and I mean, and just. We bought a house together, and it's an old house that we're living in while it's being renovated.
Oh yeah, you got no time.
So just there's lots of stuff going on.
Where
but
you
I
out in the
still have played in Pasadena.
Oh, I love Pasadena.
Yeah, I never thought I'd have a reason to live there, but Jan, our daughter, was going to school there. Like when I met her, she had already enrolled her in a school in Pasadena.
Amazing.
And Jan was living in East LA. She owned a house here. She's from here originally, and she'd been living in London for 10 years and moved back to have a baby. And she bought a house, renovated it in East LA, and she thought, oh yeah, Pasadena will be easy. It was to get from basically Boyle Heights to Pasadena, it was like 45 minutes minimum at rush hour. So we were looking at houses closer, And we found this beautiful old house in Pasadena. We didn't even think we would be able to afford Pasadena.
Yeah.
So we basically bought a haunted house. We bought a house that was built in 1907 that nobody had done anything to for 40 years. So it needs everything. But we got it, we got it livable, and we still are, we're still living in the like 1975 kitchen, and the yard is still, when we moved in, the yard was this high. So there's a lot of work in front of us, but I love living in old houses. I like bringing old houses back to life. So,
are you handy with that stuff? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, somewhat.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, this is from hanging a ceiling fan.
Okay.
And then I actually was at the emergency room yesterday for this because it wasn't just a cut. There was something wedged in there, and it was not healing. So it's like I had to go, and I was just like, just shoot it up with something and dig around in there, please. All right, thank you. Goodbye. So yeah, I can do some minor electrical stuff. I can do some plumbing stuff.
But the best is having a sense that you're not getting ripped off by the people that are working for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I called someone in to get an estimate for hanging the ceiling fans and a couple other things.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I got an estimate for a ceiling fan. I was shocked.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where if you don't do it right, you've now got a helicopter flying through your living room.
Yeah, no, and you can, but also too, there's so much on the internet that you can educate yourself with.
Yeah.
And even, and like when I had that electrician give the estimate, I sort of probed his mind a little bit about just to make sure that I was doing it right.
Right.
Like how much weight will the thing like this support? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's I can do some of that stuff.
Let's also talk about where is it? Oh, Elf. I want to talk about you're talking about your son like going into the art world in more of a corporate sense.
Yeah.
And it makes me think immediately of you in Elf, and that job.
Yeah.
To me, you fucking nailed what my vision of myself if I had not gone into stand-up comedy was.
Yeah.
It's like people that you meet at parties and go, I'm a creative, and they work at an ad agency, and you just can see.
That's probably what I would have done.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the nerve to just go,
right.
Yeah, all right, I'll try this.
Right.
Because there was a lot of, the questions that my parents would ask me, like, what's the future in this? I'd be like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't had like just the ability to go like, nah, I don't know,
right.
and keep doing it, I would probably be doing advertising,
right.
which, it's. I've directed some commercials actually because a guy that I was a PA with is an EP at a production company, executive producer at a company in Chicago, and they rep me for directing commercials.
Yeah.
And I've directed some commercials, and I have found it's still making sketches.
Right.
It's still it's the same thing as going out to do a remote sketch idea on Conan. It's written, there's props, there's people, you're part of a crew, which is the thing that I've always loved the most about making things is people that love live studio audiences, that's just not, they're nice. I like them and I appreciate them, but that's not my thing. I always said on Conan, like if I made the cameramen laugh, then if I could see them laughing behind the camera, that was like the most because they've heard everything I have to say.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like I like making jokes that make my friends laugh.
Yeah.
So when you're part of this little group that shows up in trucks and unpacks a bunch of stuff, and and then there's a zombie character wandering through, I still get a charge out of that. I still just like that collaborative work of making things, and it's a commercial.
And you're doing it with tons of resources and money behind you.
Yes,
it's not like going out with a bunch of
I haven't done any really big ones, but I've definitely done. It's there's quality our lighting and camera crew on the last thing that I shot in Chicago is all the people that shoot The Bear.
So it's all union people.
It's all union people. Yeah. They're all incredibly talented and work fast and work good and it just and like I say, to me it's just I'm shooting a little, here's a little comedy script. Get it on film in the way that's the funniest.
Yep.
I've been doing that a while.
And do you get involved with the editing, or are you kind of done once you direct?
No, because usually that's either the production company or the agency people. I could sit in on it, and I could but honestly, that's not like. I feel like no, this thing, like, yes, I want it to be funny, but it is purpose driven. It's supposed to sell a product,
right?
And I want that. Like I don't want to lie. I want this thing. So if they think this is the way this is going to sell this product, they are fulfilling the purpose probably better than I would.
Yeah, and it's not just the ad agency. You've got a lot of cooks in the kitchen. You got Budweiser is sitting there, and
absolutely,
they got to think about the network and is it going to pass? And
I often I gotta go do something else, So it's like I don't, and that was I've directed commercials over the years, but like when I was working for Conan, it was really hard to schedule it because they want you for 2 weeks, kind of just, for like 2 hours a day for the first 6 days, and then full days for 4 or 5 days, and then editing for 3 to 5 days.
Good money, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I'm not at the point yet where I can demand a lot of cash out of people.
Yeah.
I still am considered, like
apprentice.
A little bit. I'm still kind of, I don't have a bunch of stuff under my belt, but I'm building a reel, and it also would be if I could direct. Comedy, like I've done enough sitcoms.
Yeah.
That I'm very confident.
Right.
That I could do a good job with doing a sitcom.
Yeah.
Because it's also too, you're also kind of the host of the party.
Yes.
When you're doing a comedy and you're directing a comedy.
Yeah.
And I can do that. I can I like to have fun. I like to workplace.
To be in the middle of the mix.
I like a workplace to be fun.
Right.
So I can, I like to crack wise anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just I like making people laugh and having fun and keeping it light and that's like a big part of the job. That's it's like you said earlier, and it's a very nice compliment. Like I'm a good hang, and that's a huge thing in show business. Is you're going to spend long days with people. If you're no fun to be around, you won't work.
Right.
I don't care what you are.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's like I don't think Robert De Niro is a laugh riot.
Yeah,
to be
Daniel
around.
Day-Lewis is not good at craft services.
But they're
an enigma.
Yeah, but they have other things to bring to the table.
I think I realized looking back on my career, and because I've done so many different things at a very low to middle level, but I think the one thing I've done well, like I just did Corolla, and he just said I'm the most frequent guest in his history. I've done 97 appearances.
Wow.
I did 50 on Stern. I've been on Rogan 23 times. And I think I'm like you. I'm a great guest.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm the star of a sitcom or a movie.
Yeah.
But I'm a good hang.
Yeah.
So you talked about The Bear. As a Chicago guy, what would you say are the best 3 TV shows or movies out of Chicago, based on Chicago?
Oh, that are like, you mean the most Chicago-y?
Yeah. All right, now let's just go best.
Well, the first one is Thief, the movie Thief, the James Caan movie.
Oh,
Thief.
he's a safecracker.
He's a jewel thief.
Yeah. That was a
Michael
great
Mann
movie.
directed that. That was very inspirational because that came out when I was kind of admitting to myself that I wanted to be in show business.
Yeah.
And because it was so Chicago, it made it seem not only cool and fantastic and had James Caan, who then I got to work with in Elf, which was a fucking thrill.
Right.
Got to be pals with James Caan.
So cool.
It was very inspirational and made it seem possible.
Yeah.
Blues Brothers is very Chicago and in a way it's big and commercial and silly, but it does have a very kind of Chicago feel.
It explores the city, the suburbs.
Yeah. And then I'm going to say My Bodyguard has a good Chicago feel to it too. that movie. But I'm sure that I'll on the drive home I'll be like, no, I'm forgetting that one.
Was The Untouchables Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, but that that didn't feel real Chicago. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't mean to, that was such a stylized, old-fashioned kind of movie that there were Chicago locations and stuff, but it didn't feel super Chicago. Another, The Fugitive is very Chicago. There's a lot of very Chicago-y stuff. And it's also great when you hear like Chicago voices, like that's what like anything with Dennis Farina in it. You're just that's Chicago,
Best 3 New York movies or TV shows.
Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver. I guess Seinfeld is very New Yorky.
It's a very white New Yorky.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. And then, geez, what would be another
King of New
good
York with Christopher Walken.
Yeah, that's good.
The Godfather.
After Hours is very New Yorky, I think.
Right. Sex in the City.
Nails it as far as my experience there goes.
Friends, I mean, when I lived there, it was just like Friends.
Yeah.
We all matched up. We were extremely good looking. And we seemed to make a lot of money at menial jobs.
Yeah. It's weird because there does seem to be a lot of times like the divide between, like you said, the very white, experience of New York, and then also that thing that everybody talks about. It's like, she's a struggling actress, barely making it on her waitress salary. Look at her 17-room apartment. And
how they eat out at restaurants almost every night.
And then but then it's like there's not a lot in the middle, and then there's like, heroin junkies on the, Basketball Diaries, sucking dick for change so you can buy heroin that might kill you, It's like there's just not a lot of like, I work for an insurance agency and I live on the Upper East Side, I guess it's maybe not a great story.
Right. Remember Hill Street Blues?
That was a really good one. That was
real Bronx.
That
New
was
York.
really good. Yeah.
Finally, best, let's go Philadelphia movies.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even. Well, Rocky. Rocky 2. Rocky 4. I don't know. Gosh, Philadelphia.
Well, you got
Johnny Tremaine. No, that was Boston.
That was
Boston. It's an old Disney, like, historical. It's just a movie that, like, I loved when I was a kid. It's about a boy that I think he ended up being like Paul Revere's apprentice, and it's all like an American Revolutionary story, but that's Boston.
Philadelphia Story.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Oh, and that's Philadelphia.
Oh, just
Philadelphia Story is Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn.
Right. Was that a Capra film? Frank Capra film?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was. I'm trying to think of other Philly stories.
They had that one, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. No, not that. No,
that was Long Island.
No, Jennifer. What's her name? De Niro was in it. They were big Eagles fans.
Oh yeah, the Jennifer Lawrence.
Anybody?
Silver Linings.
Silver Lining Playbook. That was a great Philly movie.
Yeah.
And then Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't. It's funny. We don't like people from Philadelphia, but we love watching them in TV and movie. Yeah.
Well, they have a reputation.
They do.
Of being violent.
But I'll tell you what, man, I fucking love it. I work a club in Philly, and it's my second favorite club in the country. And the people it's Irish and Italians.
Yeah.
I like when you put them together.
Yeah.
Boston, Philly, the Bronx. They just have life to them. They have an edge. They can take a joke.
Yeah.
They can yell at you from the audience in a funny way. I love hecklers.
Yeah.
I don't mind people I don't want to be the guy. Oh, it's an hour. Shut up. Everybody just listen to me. No, I want to hear about you a little bit.
Yeah. My friend Tommy Blatcha worked for
of course.
Vince McMahon.
The WWE.
Booked, which means, thought up the storylines for for Vince McMahon for a couple of years and travel with him, and I asked him what was the worst crowds, just in terms of just not not attentive, but just the scariest. And he said by far, I think it was Worcester, Massachusetts, because he said that every female wrestler that would come on, it would be like, "You fucking whore!" and just every, how wrestling just sort of touches on different, this character might be gay, and of course, just everything. There's no hooray. It's all just red-faced rage.
Yeah, I was in Worcester once, and a fight broke out that lasted, I want to say 6 minutes.
Wow.
Most fights are 20 to 25
seconds. Yeah. And somebody stops or somebody,
somebody jumps
intercedes. Yeah.
No, this was, I just remember the club was half empty, so they put up one of those xylophone doors to close off the back of the room.
Right.
And they went through that. It was like a movie. It was two gangs of guys, and it's just a post-industrial factory town.
Right.
The factory's closed. Everybody's drunk all the time. It was a Polynesian restaurant where you drink, you get those wooden bowls.
Punch bowl, yeah.
And you get 4 straws.
Punch bowl, yeah.
Each person got their own punch bowl.
Wow.
And the joke that started the fight.
Oh, you started the fight?
No.
Oh.
I did a joke on stage where I go, Father's Day was coming up, and I said, I've got a card. It's a deadbeat Father's Day card. And I can't remember the punchline, but I read, and some guy yells out, "Hey, I'm a deadbeat dad, and I don't appreciate that." And somebody goes, "Sit down, asshole." And just...
That was it?
Dude, crowds just convert. They must have been high school rivals, because it happened like that.
Wow.
It was like dry tinder. And they went through that wall. They called the police. It took them 6 minutes to get there. And I'm announcing the fight. I stayed on stage. I'm like, he hit him with a chair. He hit him with a chair.
Yeah, that's a whole different mode of communication.
Yeah.
Fighting. It's like I've always said, because I had friends, especially on the south side of Chicago, it was a different. Because I would say it's just an added in. Somebody says something, you could say yes, you could say no, you could say I don't appreciate that, you could say fuck you, or you could hit them in the face.
Right.
And just I've never had in my toolkit hit them in the face.
Yeah.
That's never been an option communication wise.
Yeah, that was always a big one for me.
Was it?
Yeah, I was a punch him in the face guy.
Oh.
But I always hung out with big guys.
Oh.
Yeah. My roommates were
But were they
players.
were they punch him in the face?
No, they would just break up the fight I started.
Oh.
I'd get in a couple shots and they'd break it up. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I hope the therapy's helped.
It has.
Okay, good.
Next podcast, we're going to talk about therapy. We're going to close it out with a thing called Fitzdog, Fastballs with Fitz.
All right.
You're not the only one that has a little gimmick on your podcast.
I don't have any gimmicks.
3 questions.
Good conversation. That's all it is.
Let's plug the
Honesty
podcast.
and truth.
3 questions
The 3
is available
questions.
on Conan's network.
Yes.
Right.
Wherever,
Anywhere,
wherever you get it.
Spotify.
Yeah, and it's on Sirius XM. One would think I would know when,
Yeah.
but I don't.
Well,
I think
with
it's
the app,
Tuesdays.
But with the app on Sirius, you can listen to all
to
programs.
it wherever.
Right.
But you can, anywhere. Podcasts are available. Anywhere.
And phone calls with Andy Richter is the other one?
The Andy Richter call-in show,
Andy
and that
Richter
will be starting, I believe, in June. So soon.
Well, no, this will probably come out at the beginning of June, so this is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. Have you ever saved somebody's life?
Well, I mean, I had a barbecue once. My niece, I walked by the pool and I saw her with the water here going like her floaties had come off or something. So, and I was fully dressed and just walked in and picked her up. But she was not like she was not yelling. She didn't want to make any trouble for anybody. And I just happened to be outside and was like, oh, there's a drowning child there.
That's hilarious. She would have died rather than upset people.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Or probably, I think it was probably more like didn't want to admit like that she'd made a mistake or something,
right. Does she ever remember that and thank you? Do you guys talk about it?
No.
Just kind of happens.
Yeah.
You may want to bring that up at some point. How about a little thank you?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's two types of people in this world. Go.
Problem makers and problem solvers.
Interesting. Yeah. And you're a solver.
I like to think so. Yeah.
I think I straddle that.
Yeah.
But I think I only make problems when there's already a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other way I look at it is there are peacemakers and there are war makers. And what do you want? What do you want to be?
Right.
You
Right. You got to pick a side at this
Yeah.
point. Finally, have you ever not finished a show, one of your improv shows, where you guys are on stage, it's bad audience or whatever?
There has to have been something like a fire alarm or something pulled. There were in Chicago in the wintertime, a lot of like there's there things you can't because like the heat's out.
Yeah.
Like and if it's 10 below, it's like you're not going to do a show.
But you never walked off. You guys never ended it.
No. The closest I can come to that is when for a while, because I have friends from improv, like David Keckner and Tim Meadows, old friends of mine that have branched into stand-up.
Yeah.
And they enjoy it. And it's a good way, it's a way when you're not doing anything else to go and make some money, And I thought, I should probably do that. And so I was kind of half-assed practicing at it. And at the San Francisco Sketch Fest one year, which I've done a bunch of those, I was emceeing at Cobb's Comedy Club a night of Conan-related stand-ups, either stand-ups that had been on the show or our writers, some of our writers who were
Brian
stand-ups.
Kiley.
Yeah, it was like Laurie Kilmartin. I don't know if Brian did it, but Andre Dubuchet did it. But I definitely know Laurie Kilmartin was there. And I was hosting this thing. And I was supposed to do like 10 to 15 at the top, something like that. And I was, doing my stuff. And I just in the middle of it, I felt like, I don't like this. I don't like being out here on my own.
Yeah.
Telling stuff I've told before.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this isn't for me,
Yeah.
And I cut it short. Like I just said like, well, okay. And I wasn't doing that great anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, not that even was the reason. I just was like, I don't want to do,
Right.
It's like eating something that you don't like. No, I don't want that.
Yep.
And I had to. I want to say it was Aparna Nancherla was on next, and I was like, all right, well, coming up next, and I think she had to like scramble because she was expecting another 5 minutes out of me. But I just was like, that's it. And that was the last time I ever sort of attempted to do stand-up.
Well, as a stand-up who's constantly competing against too many other comics out there, I thank you for dismounting early.
That's the other thing, is I would feel dilettantish.
Yeah.
It's the same way that like I didn't get into podcasting for a long time because of people like you and Jimmy Pardo and Scott Aukerman, who are friends of mine, who truly set out in the beginning of podcasting to do podcasting.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm the guy from TV. Like I have a TV job and I'm going to come in. I want to try it too. Because I would have a built-in promotion thing and I just would have a leg up over people that had really, worked it. And so I always was like, eh.
Yeah.
And then I got separated from my wife, and I was like, you know what, I got to start doing some stuff. I got to start saying yes to ththings. So I was like, I'll do a pod. And the worst part, when because people had been saying to me, like my manager and, Team Richter, they had been saying, you should do a podcast, And I was always like, I know, but I don't. And then, like I say, it was just because I felt embarrassed.
I think it's pretty organic for you. This is your world, broadcasting.
Yeah, blabbing.
Conversing.
Yeah. But I was like, all right, I will do it. And I came up with the idea for the 3 questions, and I was like, yep, let's do it. And literally like 3 days after I said, yeah, I'm going to do a podcast, I hear, hey, Conan's going to do a podcast.
Great.
I was like, God damn it. Can't I have anything? So, and now, and I like I think I'm getting like 40,000 downloads, which isn't bad.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bad.
that's amazing.
I asked out of curiosity somebody, I'm like, what does Conan get? And they're like, oh, well over 1 million. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Right.
I don't know what to, God
Well, you're gonna
bless
get
him.
now
God
that
bless the guy, though. I mean, I don't mean to, I don't mean to be bitchy because I love him a ton, but but it is kind of like it is, it's like I really understand what being a showbiz spouse is like.
Yes.
Being Conan's partner made me understand what it's like to be married to me.
Yeah.
Like go to a party and everyone wants to talk to me, but doesn't want to, is like, oh, hi, and then blah, blah, blah to me. Like, I understand that.
They want to talk to Ricky, not Lucy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I get that when I'm out. Like, there's so many times when people are like, I love the show, I want to see the show, and then they hand me the phone to take the picture of the two of them. Which I don't care about. It's just, it's funny to me that like, or they'll be like, to Conan, I love the show, it's so great. I love this, like not like, because there is that conversation where somebody goes, and Andy, oh, I love you too, but it's just like, I love the show. Anyway,
Well, listen, I love you more than Conan, and I'd have you on before him any day of the week.
Thank you.
And the new podcast, you're going to get another 40,000 people after this podcast.
I hope so.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Good luck with the shows. Thank you, as always, for your time.
Thank you, Greg. It's
happy
great
to hang
seeing
with
you, and I'm glad that you're out of your house.
I'm out of my. Oh,
yeah.
Is that where you did?
Yeah,
the
that's
show
the
last
last time I did your show.
Okay.
It was still in your house.
Yeah. No,
So,
this is much better, isn't it?
It gets
It's a little warm.
to get out. It's a little warm, but it's so good to get out of the house.
Yes.
It's so good to get out of the house.
It started during the podcast, during the pandemic. I got out and never went back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better for the house, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They appreciate me gone.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.